Everybody, and thank you to the episode number 80 of Propy's weekly webinar series on how to run your real estate business online. I'm your host, Gwyneth Iredale, Senior Customer Success Manager here at Propy. This week, we are talking about how leading tech-enabled brokerages gain better agent adoption and satisfaction. And we're going to touch on a few topics there: how to evaluate and implement technology, agent adoption and training tips, and where does technology go from here? And we'll have a quick update on the Colorado market update. So thank you for joining us today. I'm pleased to welcome our guests. We have Doug Geek, who is VP Production at 8Z Real Estate in Colorado. Thank you for joining us, Doug.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and just a little bit about you. I saw that you have, quote, a passion for fixing what is broken in real estate. And you've developed a culture and systems that help agents have an average of about 21 transactions each in 2020?
Yeah, just a bit over 21 transactions per license. So, that's an individual agent. That's not a team, and there's not a lot of fudging going on there. We're pretty passionate about measuring that correctly. So, yeah, I'd say we have a culture of high productivity, and it ties into 8Z, which, for those of you that don't know, every zip code in Colorado and really west of the Mississippi minus California starts with 8. So that's kind of an 8 zip code thing. Yeah, we're an independent. We've been around for just over 10 years, and it's going well thus far.
Wow, that's an amazing productivity and the volume as well. So we'll look forward to hearing a little more about how you help your agents get there. I'd also like to welcome Erin Marshall. And Erin, you're a realtor at Next Home Unlimited, and your website is Sold by Erin. And you describe yourself as passionate and driven with a goal to help clients build generational wealth and give them financial freedom through real estate. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And I see that you also are tech savvy and you keep up to date with the latest trends, which includes real estate technology, but also blockchain and crypto.
Absolutely.
And I must say, I noticed that you probably developed your amazing leadership skills through your service in the U.S. Army. So thank you so much for your service.
Awesome.
And the Department of Defense. Wow.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. 9 years active duty.
Goodness gracious. Well, what amazing skills that brings. And also maybe that's part of your marketing strategy and maybe some of the reasons why you've selected certain technology to service relocating military.
Absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit more while you're at it, Erin, about Next Home Unlimited?
Yeah. So Next Home Unlimited, we are based out of Junction City, Kansas. We service Junction City, Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas, and Abilene. We have 3 offices in each location, 1 office in each location, I'm sorry. We're a group of about 25 agents. I am new to the team, well, fairly new. This is my first year as a realtor. And yeah, we do investments, residential. We service a lot of the military here. This is a military town right here in Junction City. So a lot of our clients are military, and yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Let's roll into some of the topics here. Okay. Evaluating technology and implementing real estate technology. Let's see, who wants to start? How do you evaluate technology?
Go for it, Erin.
So the way I try to look at things is on evaluating and implementing technology is you got to figure out what problem are you solving. If you can solve a problem with new technology, then great. If you can't solve the problem, then it's probably not good to get that type of technology. That's the way I kind of typically like to evaluate technology, to see how it's going to better my business and help me with the problem that I am trying to solve. So for agents, like for me, when I started off was I'm in a new environment and I really don't know anybody. So how do I get my name out there, and how am I able to, I guess, work from one thing? And the answer was utilizing a CRM. I use chime.me. That's something that our company has, and I'm able to work solely off of that, and it's able to, I'm able to, it's a big benefit because you're not all over the place. Like some agents where you have your systems over here, then your systems over here, your systems over here. You just focus in on that one system and really work from there. And that's able to help me solve the problem that.
And I noticed on one of your, I guess your webpage, one of the things that you stress to your clients, that technology enables you to reach a wider market and provide faster service with stress-free transactions. So it sounds like having a CRM is your key to allow you to do that.
Absolutely.
Great. All right, Doug, any tips on how do you identify technology and then roll it out?
Yeah, I've got to echo what Aaron said. And Aaron, thank you so much for your service. That's amazing. Is solving a problem. First, you have to identify what piece of the puzzle, and there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle in real estate, right? You got to identify which piece you're trying to solve. And I think it's important as you get into it to figure out how it's going to integrate with all of your systems, because I talked about productivity, and that's my focus here at 8Z. I've got to make sure that I am giving time back to my agents so that they have more time to do the art part of the business, which is creating relationships with their clients, having face-to-face meetings. So I have a little motto. It doesn't work out with every piece of technology, but it starts with what can I do for the agent, not what can I give the agent to do when I'm evaluating technology, right? And as we get into it deeper and deeper, and we have more and more solutions that come across the table, I think integration becomes a really big piece. Aaron kind of mentioned it, logging into this system and this system and this system. I think as a broker owner that are out there, you and me trying to get people to implement, every time you give them another login, it's less and less likely that they're going to adopt that system because they either forget about it or they don't have the time or whatever it might be. So I think that integration is a critical factor as we start to piece together our real estate technology stacks moving forward. But it's all about creating time for our agents to do more productive activities and easing the pain of a real estate transaction for our clients, the most important people out there who pay all the bills around here, right? So it's really about making what is a painful process, or can be because they don't do it that often, a lot easier.
So kind of keying into what you just said, what do agents love to do? You talked about relationships, and the answer to what they don't like to do is any particular piece. You said transactions.
I think, yeah, the nuts and bolts of a transaction. I think they like getting paid, but I think they like the process of a transaction to spend as little time as possible on it, right? Is going to an inspection or going to an appraisal the best use of their time? I'd argue probably not in most cases, but they got to solidify the relationship, keep solidifying the relationship with their client. And luckily, we're in probably it's the best time ever to be a real estate agent, in my humble opinion, because we have all these systems and tools that we can leverage to allow us these benefits.
And I saw on your website that, Doug, that clarity, control, and confidence are 3 big words. Your website is so simple, beautiful, and that seems like your guiding principle then. Is that correct?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for reminding me. That's our brand. So clarity is really simple. We have a process, and we are going to understand everything that happens along the way. Control, you are in control of the decisions. It's my process. I'm going to show you how this is done. I'm even going to make recommendations. But at the end of the day, you're in control. You decide what actually happens. And I'm speaking to the client. And then at the end, you'll be 100% confident that you made the right decision because we had clarity and control throughout the process.
Nice. Yeah. And visibility and transparency, do those two, or maybe transparency, does that fit into either of your value propositions, Aaron?
Yes. Trying to think of how to word it.
Including, so what I heard Doug say is, the agent wants to get in and out of transactions. Maybe you have some help with do you have a transaction coordinator you use?
Yep.
And how do you keep them informed, the client informed of what's going on during the transaction?
Absolutely. So our office, we have a transaction coordinator, and we actually have a marketing coordinator who handles all of our marketing materials. So from going to take pictures, drone footage, creating the Facebook post, and all the social media content. So that kind of alleviates a lot of like headache for us as agents. To like, most agents go out, take pictures out by themselves or anything like that. But yeah, we have a marketing coordinator that handles that, and then our transaction coordinator handles all things with the transaction. And we use the DocuSign Room, and that's been very beneficial for us. We're able to put the key players into the room and have everybody up to date on what's going on.
I heard you say drone footage. Wow. And is there a price point before you decide to pay for a drone?
So our marketing coordinator, so there's a $100 marketing fee that goes towards the transaction. And that's typically what we pay.
Nice. Very cool. Doug, do you have any particular points on how you identify transaction coordinator roles or marketing roles for the agents?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think technology has a huge play in this because of scale, right? So if you're growing, Aaron, it sounds like you guys are growing. We've grown from 30 to 165 over the last 10 years.
Wow.
That scalability with human beings is really tough. So you got to have technology and efficiencies in place that allow you to scale a lot faster and a lot more economical, right? I think the technology allows you to do that. And it all goes back to transparency. That's a core value at 8Z, one of our 5 core values. And, we always want to pull the curtain back so that the consumer understands what we're doing, but also so each agent completely understands what is behind them, marketing team, transaction coordinators, all these things to allow them to have confidence in their process and know that those are things they can let go of, right? I think that's the hardest thing in agent adoption to technology, is being able to trust it, especially, a seasoned agent that's been doing this a long time. They probably have some reservations about how it's done and knowing that it's done right. So you have to be completely transparent as to why you're bringing a system on, what the value is to them, and how it's going to change their business and allow them to get time back.
Last week we had a similar kind of discussion. We talked about high tech, high touch, which allows your agents to be freed up and then spend their time with developing relationships. And I wonder, does it also help to show how technology will, of course, give that transparency, but speed things up, but share with the client how involved it is. I had no idea when I paid my real estate agent, you're grumbling about the commission, what they did for that to earn that commission. Oh my gosh, when I see the checklists in Propy, or we have a lot of transaction coordinators who use us, and they have their own checklists that I see, oh my gosh, there are so many pieces and there's such a high risk for missing a deadline because somebody dropped the ball on that. Do you think that defending commissions with some technology tools or giving that transparency will allow the agents to defend their commissions compared to these iBuyers?
Yeah, I think it absolutely justifies your worth, right? Your value. And I think because of that, curtain's been so closed traditionally in real estate. You opened a few doors for us. I know you wrote a contract, you maybe spent a day on that, in reality a lot less, and then you got this 5-figure check at the end of the day. I don't know your price point, Aaron. Ours is like 550, so usually it's like 5 figures. But that can be disheartening. I think that's one of the brokens in real estate. But if you actually can show them your process, it sounds like, Aaron, you hand your clients a huge marketing portfolio when they list their house. That's showing amazing value. It really justifies and helps them understand why they need you and that you were worth what they paid.
Absolutely. So for me, I try to bring my stats compared to the market stats, and I also like we have our own internal marketing stuff. I bring a storybook as well. So with that CMA, it's explaining everything that we do, everything that our company is value, our human over houses motto, and then like I said, the stats. So I try to compare and show them the reason why the commission is what it is.
And there's going to be no replacing the local knowledge of a real estate agent. So, technology can set you up for a CRM, so you know exactly what to do next, or you may have some tools to measure some of your goals, your KPIs, and hold you accountable. But the whole goal would be to free up the agent so you can get out there and be FaceTime with, whether it's virtual or in reality, in real life, as they say. Yep. Okay, so now we've identified some technology, and you now have to sell it into your team or your company. And how do you get adoption? Doug, do you want to start on that, since you're
Sure.
involved in operations and
Sure,
you have a
absolutely.
background and history in that?
Absolutely. It starts with how little can I impact their day to day, so that they know that it's not a big ask to adopt a new piece of technology, but really helping them understand the benefits, the why of what is actually impacting in their business. Before you just hand them something to start clicking the buttons on, right? Like, what is the actual benefit? What am I going to gain? And again, for me, it usually comes back to time, because that's all of our most valuable asset, right? So you start there, and then you need good partners. So who you choose in your technology partners is critical, because they can help you get a long way in agent adoption. And I think you got to understand how the whole thing fits within your system. Those are critical. And then you drive a culture. At 8Z, 99.9% of the time, the brokerage is paying for the piece of technology. And I think the agents understand that we wouldn't be doing this unless it was for good reason. So those things really help. And as much as you can take off their plates, I can say in a lot of instances, I had, very high adoption. I won't say 100%, but because the agents didn't really have to do anything. And I think we are getting more and more systems that afford that capability. So those are the keys for me.
Wow, the agents don't have to do anything, but do they have training then?
Yeah. A CRM, for instance, Aaron mentioned his, we use Boomtown, and of course they're going to have to do some things, but how can you boil it down and make it very digestible so that they're not eating the whole elephant? They're just eating one little bite of it. Right. Yes. That's critical, and moving in phases, right? It's a Chevy now, it'll be a Ferrari at the end, and it'll have steps along the way. But don't hand them this monster right off the bat.
Yep. And I see that goal setting is important in both of your approaches, just from what I've been reading. And then I wonder if there's a connection between the reportability of key performance indicators, or KPIs, to identify any bottlenecks or even to prove value. So if the agent can see, before we used Boomtown or Chime, we had this productivity. Now that we've implemented this, if they're a new agent, we can actually measure the success, the number of calls, the number of appointments, the number of listing presentations, and then close deals. So how do you implement KPIs, or how do you decide on them? Or do you use them? Do you use measurements of success and then hold your agents accountable?
Were you getting ready to say something, Doug? I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna, you go first, Aaron. I got
so
I'll let you go.
So for me personally, I use the KPI. I use KPIs. So when I was running my wholesale business, that's how we was able to be so successful in that. We knew how many people to talk to, and so many people are going to say yes. And then out of those so many people, 2 deals that we actually close on. And we're able to work backwards from that to really identify exactly what we need to be working on to be successful in that. So I translated that into being a realtor. And I know that on a month's time, we need to talk to at least, so the average out here was like 45 people to talk to get at least one deal. And my goal was to triple that. So I needed to be able to talk to X amount of people to get 2 deals or 3 deals or whatever it is. And it's been very successful for me, in my opinion.
That's great. And I'm sure in every market, it's a different close ratio, you know, close to appointment, appointment to the next close. Yeah, great. Doug, what did you
but
want?
the key, and you nailed it, Gwen, is that you actually measure those things and measure against them, right? So every agent in our brokerage builds an individual business plan based on specific KPIs, of course, closes and volume, but also, you know, GCI, your average commission. We throw some extras in there because we have partners in title and mortgage, but we identify those KPIs, and we put in a business plan, you know, kicks in Jan 1, and you measure it against it for the entire year, to understand how you're doing versus it and what you might need to change or implement to meet it or adjust your business plan or whatever it may be. And that happens, of course, at the individual agent level, like I mentioned, but also at a team level. We have, you know, our brokerage is broken up into teams, and then it happens at the brokerage level, and they don't necessarily run up. We all have our kind of our own, but it's because I believe accountability is a language of love, and you better if you don't have accountability, you're not doing it right, and you can't change anything really. I would argue you can't change anything that you don't measure. So, you know, you can guess and you can throw things at the wall and kind of see what sticks. But what's amazing in this industry is when you can get a true ratio like Aaron has, and you can turn the dial up or down on a specific piece of technology or a certain lead gen source, whatever it may be. And you kind of know exactly what's going to happen. Like, that is a critical moment in our industry, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and knowing also your average price, if you have a commission target or a revenue target, you know, you want to close the year out with X dollars, and just calculate based on your average home sale. Yeah, and I love your quote, accountability is the language of love. That's great. So to support agents in helping them meet their goals, do you have mastermind groups, to use sort of a KW term, or how do you support them in their accountability and success in using the tools? Do you want to each take turns?
Sure. So for us, we host weekly meetings, and they're kind of like accountability meetings, where we pretty much pull the curtain back and see exactly, like, if you're doing the necessary steps, or taking the necessary steps to be successful in your business. And then if you're not, you know, we kind of identify like what you need to be doing, and set a goal for that. So it can be a weekly goal or a monthly goal or a quarterly goal, however you want to put it. And we come together as a team and help each other out.
Yeah, and I love, Aaron, I looked at some of your Facebook posts about your goal setting, and you're envisioning, you know, the success that you're going to get. So it's all about mindset. So Doug, do you have some mindset tips or some other ways you support your agents?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have in-house coaching, and we have in-house mentorship. You know, our managing brokers, they're truly mentors versus, you know, just compliance or contract readers. They're in production themselves. So they're living it, they're breathing it. They're actually coaching each agent as they go along. And furthermore, there's goalposts of meeting quarterly at the individual agent level. The managing broker team meets monthly. The leadership team above them meets weekly, and we're always continuously looking at those stats. Those stats, furthermore, are available. You can look at them 15 times a day if you want to, but they're always available and in real time, so we know exactly where we are. Closed and pending, getting a holistic view of the business to really make good business decisions when we're in those meetings whether it's, do we need to go get another piece of technology for this specific piece, whatever that may be. So accountability is huge. And, the mindset, as you said, is accountability, acceptance, understanding that it's there to do one thing, and that's to make you better and to help you. We call it the real estate good life. So you have a big gross, a healthy net, clients that adore you, and time, and this one doesn't come always initially, but time for a life outside of real estate. I think it's a really easy business that, most real estate agents are entrepreneurs. And if you're not working, it stops, the wheel stops. And we try to change that for people and really work on them getting those 4 pillars to avoid burnout and get them in a place where not only is their business life good, but their personal life is good as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Those are always good goals, because I can imagine being a real estate agent in your first year or two. It's hard to get over the hump, right? So thank you so much. You've shared already some bits about training and adoption. So thank you for all your input there. So last question before we move on to the Colorado brief market update. Where is technology heading from here? Any forecasts on that? Doug, it looks like you're chomping at the bit.
Okay. I think it'd be naive to think that technology isn't going to continue to innovate. If you simply Google how much money is coming into the real estate tech prop space, it's billions and billions and billions of dollars. And furthermore, we all know of the Zillows and the Redfins of the world. And you see all these companies kind of coming up overnight with new innovation, whether it's iBuyers or Bridge, buy before you sell solutions. And I think what's really cool is as they come out, it really seems like a disruptor. But I think, you should probably try to embrace them as an opportunity, because it starts off here, and every time, no matter what the technology space has been, for me for the last 15 years, and for our CEO, who's been in a lot longer than I, the two kind of meld together. So I think the critical component for broker owners, agents, anybody that's listening, is that you're innovating and you're accepting and you're adopting and staying relevant, because these solutions only come because the consumer wants them. And we have to stay relevant and keep ourselves relevant to what the client, the consumer wants. So some people might be really scared of it. And I can guarantee if you're not innovating and adopting these things, you're going to be irrelevant at some point. But if you do adopt them, they can really accelerate your business and open doors that, quite frankly, may never have been possible before. So bring it on. I think it's a huge wave, and you can either ride that baby or get disrupted by it. It's your choice.
Nice segue to Aaron, who might even, with your experience in crypto and blockchain, venture a guess that that's going to be the future of real estate.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it is. It just seems a lot more simple. And speaking to my generation and the Generation Z population, they like the instant gratification. They like the things that are right now. I was just speaking with my little brother a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to him about the home buying process, and he's like, I just want to buy a house and be done with it. I don't want to have to wait 30 days. And he was like, if there's a solution where I can just buy it within like a couple of weeks, he was like, that'd be great. He was like, there's a technology out there that does that. And my argument on that was, with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, you are able to do that. So I see it maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. We'll start seeing more adoption of it. But I mean,
yep.
We'll see what the future holds.
Thank you. Thank you for both going out on forecasting. So let's just take a quick look at the Colorado market, and then we'll wrap up with just some 1 or 2 little takeaways. Doug, what's happening in the Colorado market?
Yeah, overall business is great. I mean, we had record appreciation, and I know that's not uncommon everywhere. So, kudos to us and kudos to those people that we got in houses when we did. But inventory remains tight, less than a month of inventory in the Front Range of Colorado where we service. In-migration is amazing. Colorado is a very popular place to live, and our jobs are pretty diversified. So supply and demand remains strong. So I don't think we're going to see the feeding frenzy that we've seen the last couple of years, but I could see it slowing to maybe single digit appreciation year over year. But it's still a great time to sell with such limited inventory, but paradoxically a great time to buy because of interest rates. And that's the one factor that could change. But if I was a betting man, I'd say it's not gonna change crazily. Tick up to 3.5%, 4%, 5%. And at that time, we'll have to remind our clients of when our parents were buying in the 80s at 13% and 15%. So it's all relative, right? And that's our job as realtors, is to educate and help them make the right decision, whether it's investing or their first house or their move up or whatever it might be. But the indicators are strong.
Yeah, and they need an agent more so now than ever before because of these conflicting interest rates and inventory issues that you just mentioned. It's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, you can really miss out on some huge opportunities. It used to be 5-digit swings, but I've seen 6-digit swings recently in the last year. So doing it on your own or not using somebody to help you out can be a huge mistake.
Yep. Thank you for that, for the Colorado, the Denver area market update. Any final takeaways? Maybe a one sentence, 2-sentence takeaway for our audience to remember.
Don't be afraid to be great.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I'm going to piggyback off Aaron and say good is the enemy of great. We're big Jim Collins fans here at 8Z, and just because you're doing it well now doesn't mean it can't be better. So make sure you're staying in tune with everything that's coming out. I might have to hit Aaron up for some blockchain advice. That's going to be critical in the next few years when it comes to real estate. So kudos to you, Aaron, and stay frosty.
All right. Well, Aaron and Doug, thank you so much for joining us this week. We appreciate your advice and your knowledge, and thank you for sharing that. So for our audience, join us again next week, where we're going to have Chip Ridge, who's with Millennial Title, and we'll talk a little bit about how title and blockchain and crypto are associated with each other. So thanks again for joining us, and I'm Gwyneth Iredale signing off for Propy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.